All right, another day, another fever dream. What the hell is going on with America? I don't know, but I can tell you what I do know. Alcatraz is set to be rebuilt and reopened per Donald Trump. If you don't know what Alcatraz is, it's a prison on like a little island deemed inescapable. Yeah, we're not going to do a history lesson here, but let's just talk about the fact that Trump is ordering the feds to reopen Alcatraz to house America's most ruthless and violent criminals. Like, am I the only one that's just getting concerned here? So, aside from the fact when the Trump administration says ruthless and violent criminals, they mean anyone that they just consider or allege is a criminal. When he was running for office, it's, oh, I'm going to deport the violent ones, the heinous criminals, the rapists, the murderers, etc. And then it went to, we're going to deport anyone who's a criminal, and they consider all undocumented immigrants criminals, even though they're not technically criminal, because coming here illegally is not a criminal offense. It's actually a misdemeanor, which is like a civil offense. Anyways, technicality slash facts aside, let's read the article. President Donald Trump is calling for the notorious prison and now historical landmark Alcatraz in San Francisco, California, to be rebuilt larger and reopened to house the country's most ruthless and violent criminals. Trump made the announcement in a Truth Social post on Sunday evening. Rebuild and open Alcatraz, the president said. For too long, America has been plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal offenders, the dregs of society who would never contribute anything other than misery and suffering. You know, it's so it's so just ironic to me that the president who is quote unquote law and order and tough on crime he's a convicted felon. He pardoned over like 1,500 people who broke into the Capitol building trying to overturn an election. He is pardoning some new fraudster every week, someone who was like indicted and arrested on like committing some sort of heinous fraud. Like, what is going on? Every day. Like, it's like anyone who has an ounce of critical, independent thinking, they're just being gaslit every day because there's so many people who just, they take everything at a surface level, at a headline level, and it's crazy. Okay, enough ranting. I just feel like I'm sincerely losing my damn mind over here. Trump said he is directing the Bureau of Prisons, Department of Justice, FBI, and Department of Homeland Security to reopen a substantially enlarged and rebuilt Alcatraz to house America's most ruthless and violent offenders. We will no longer be held hostage to criminals, thugs, and judges that are afraid to do their job. What? And judges? I know that we're already going around arresting judges and threatening judges, but like, judges, you're just going to admit it now? You're throwing judges in the same category? Judges you don't like, judges that actually uphold the rule of law and Constitution. You want to send them to Alcatraz? How is no one else losing their mind? Anyways, Alcatraz opened in 1934, but the prison located on a 22-acre spit of rock was shuttered after 29 years. Considering it's a 1.25-mile distance to shore, the Bay Area island was considered practically escape-proof, although there were 14 documented attempted escapes. We don't care about that. We're not here for a history lesson. So one thing I do want to point out is Trump keeps saying like crime, crime, crime. Our country's being taken over by criminals. Crime, crime, crime. Here's just a chart. You can look up the full article or just study here, but here's a chart of U.S. violent and property crime rates from the 1990s to 2022. As you can see, everything is pretty much at a decline. Now there are some ups and downs. Mainly after 2020, but these are small spikes compared to the overall trend and what it used to be. And I imagine a lot of the small spikes in post 2020 is relating to the pandemic and just the growing rate of poverty. And this takes me to one of my main points about crime. Crime in the US, I believe, it's not some result of just first of all, like that we have like a country of criminals or just a bunch of bad people. It's not from mass migration, um, but or it's not from mass migration or some like criminal gang takeover or whatever Republicans and Trump are saying. It is related to poverty, wealth, and inequality. The middle class is shrinking. Americans are much poorer than they were decades ago. This is like the first generation or a couple generations that is expected to do worse off than their parents. And I think that's what leads to a lot of crime and the small increases and spikes that we're seeing that are being exposed as a result of the post 2020 COVID and everything that did to the economy. Now, if you want to actually address crime, you need to address poverty. You address poverty by addressing healthcare. We are the only developed nation in the world that doesn't guarantee free healthcare at the point of service to all of its citizens. That's crazy. The number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States of America is medical debt. Second, wages. Federal minimum wage is still at $7.25 an hour. There was a movement for a $15 minimum wage, but that's even moot. Like that's outdated. I don't even know what is considered the living wage now and what the fight should be for, but quite simply, a minimum wage needs to be guaranteed to any American working full time. We should not have people working several jobs, several gig jobs just to get by. Like that's insane to me. We are the richest country in the world by far. And these are problems that countries that are nominally much less wealthy than us don't have this issue to the degree that we do. Education. Every American should be guaranteed or have access to a free public higher education. Like stuff like this is how you address crime. Addressing the systemic root issues of our country that leads people to turn to crime and violence. And this administration is doing nothing to address those. Instead, we're getting rid of due process rights. We're sending people to Gitmo and CCOT. And Trump has objectively not done any policies to improve the lives of your average American. In fact, he has undone some of the few really good things that Joe Biden did, such as, so Joe Biden restored the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board, and, re-pumped up unions and did a lot overall for rebuilding unions in this country. Trump did away with all of that. He pretty much put a halt to the NLRB in a sense, and he doesn't care about unions. Like, we just had a executive order like a month ago saying that like federal workers can't unionize or something along that lines, and then a bunch of federal union workers were fired. Anyways, Biden pumped up and appointed one of the best Consumer Financial Protection Bureau heads that we've probably ever had under Lena Khan. Trump obviously appointed a different head and pretty much kneecapped that agency, completely cut off funding to it, or at least attempted to. Biden was able to lower several, like over a dozen prescription drug prices. Donald Trump canceled that and raised them again. And then he's doing shit like tariffs, cutting Medicaid, Social Security, all this that are going to objectively hurt poorer people more, forcing people to go to collections if they haven't been paying their student loans, even though they can't afford to pay their student loans, and that's why they're not paying them. Like, all of this is going to make crime worse. Yeah, you might have like a small decrease when you go and arrest like half of America, but it's not going to address the root issues. It's like, you got to go for the root cause, like the root issues is my point here. So all of this is just so ridiculous, so authoritarian, and the authoritarian act part of it. So as I said, we're already sending people to Gitmo and CCOT in El Salvador, and he's already invoked various acts to bypass due process to be able to deport anyone, no matter American citizen, green card holder. It doesn't matter because there's no due process. Established a 170-mile long like military base along the southern border, and pretty much deputized like any military personnel in that area to make arrests and do illegal search and seizures and shit like that. Then this order that we just went over, we've seen judges arrested. We've had several cases of the Trump administration threatening judges and lawmakers, Congress people, ignoring various court rulings, and then a military parade just to be a little frivolous cherry on top. Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. And everyone supports this whole law and order push, not realizing what it is actually doing. It is just creating an authoritarian regime that can basically arrest anyone they want for whatever they want. And on top of all that, we had this executive order strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent civilians. Let's read the summary on that. Legal defense for officers. The Attorney General is directed to establish a mechanism to provide legal resources and indemnification for law enforcement officers who face unjust expense and liabilities arising from actions taken during their official duties. So protecting police officers who who abuse power or just do something heinous while in their position are now going to be protected by the federal federal government. Empowerment of state and local law enforcement. Federal agencies are instructed to maximize resources to develop best practice for aggressive policing against all crimes, enhance training quality and accessibility, increase compensation and benefits for officers, strengthen legal protection for officers, seek harsher penalties for crimes against law enforcement, invest in prison security and capacity, improve crime data collection and distribution across jurisdictions, review of federal oversight measures, utilization of national security assets. Yeah, let's arm the police even more. They're already basically another military force within our country. Accountability for state and local officials. The Attorney General is tasked with pursuing legal remedies against state and local officials who willfully obstruct criminal law enforcement. So this goes back to that judge that was arrested for basically trying to protect someone from being illegally abducted by ICE before they could even finish their hearing. Not that ICE cares. Their hearing or trial could be completely dropped and they could be deemed of no wrongdoing, and the ICE would still just sit outside the courtroom and arrest them anyways. Coordination with Homeland Security task forces. This order mandates the use of Homeland Security task forces or as established by Executive Order 14159 to coordinate and advance its objectives. So again, like, am I the only one concerned here? Does no one else? I mean, most lefties and liberals seem to get this, but where is the right at? Where are free speech and actual law and order people at? Or where are the constitutionalists at? Like, do you not see any concern here just because it's your team, or you may in a weird way support a lot of the things they're doing? Like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like I said, if you want to address crime, you need to address poverty. And this Republican obsession with cracking down on crime, this authoritarian crackdown on crime, treating it like we're like Haiti or right now, or El Salvador pre Bukele. Like, what is going on? And it's like the same concept when Democrats and liberals were real tough on gun control and trying to push that. I don't even agree with gun control. I mean, of course, common sense, like background checks, but to the degree it was pushed in the past, I don't, because that's just the Democrat version of cracking down on constitutional freedoms to address something that shouldn't be addressed that way. Let's address poverty first, and then any crime or gun violence that results after that, we can talk about legislating against after. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below, and if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.